ahead on 12 News. A new Hope band that hopes to rock on a bigger stage. Then, remembering veterans who died for our country.
This year we have a special focus on Vietnam-era veterans.
But first, what some parents say is unfair punishment at Osseo area schools. 12 News starts right now. Are minority students treated unfairly when it comes to suspensions at Osseo area schools?
It's just one of the issues parents of color brought up during a town hall forum on Thursday night. The ultimate goal here is to improve what's working in schools and fixing what's not.
At this meeting, I informed the teacher that the tone of her email left me with the impression that she did not want me advocating or involved in my son's education.
A parent speaks at a forum in Brooklyn Park about a problem her son was having with a teacher. It was the first meeting of its kind involving Osseo school officials and parents of children of color.
Those negative things has to be addressed.
This is not a confrontation, but it's an exchange.
It's a chance for parents to speak about what's working and what's not, and for school administrators to hear about issues like student suspensions and hiring minorities.
How do you hire social workers, counselors that are people of color? Because they understand the unique experiences of these students and some of the circumstances. Some of these kids came from war, countries of war. So they may be shouting, 18 and actually trying to fight.
Northview Junior High already bans student suspensions, a punishment that impacted students of color at a higher rate than anyone else. Critics of suspensions say they lead to other problems like drugs and dropping out of school. But then, how do you handle discipline?
If it's not something that is dangerous, like if I'm talking back to my teacher, that does not warrant a suspension. Maybe that warrants a redirection for something else to happen, or maybe removing me out of the classroom and putting me in another place, but I continue to learn.
It's one question parents and school administrators plan to work on together.
We're just trying to figure out ways that we can close the achievement gap.
Organizers hope more parental involvement will lead to policy changes, and in the end, they want to focus on a short list of concerns.
We know that we can't do it all, but if we can figure out what are the top 5 things that are really a concern for our parents, then those are the things that we're going to focus on after this meeting.
This was the first of several meetings. Others are planned for Latino and Asian communities.
The search of the Maple Grove home of Amy Sue Pagnac's parents will officially continue through the weekend. It's been nearly a week since investigators executed a search warrant at the home of the girl who disappeared in 1989. Maple Grove Police, Hennepin County Sheriff's deputies, and the FBI began their search on Sunday. Investigators initially planned to have their work wrapped up today on Friday, but Maple Grove Police Captain Keith Terlinden said their efforts will continue Saturday and possibly Sunday.
The Osseo City Council will meet Tuesday to decide a course of action for a newly vacated council seat. Bonnie Heinen turned in her resignation this week, citing health reasons. City Council could vote to appoint someone or leave the seat unfilled until the November elections. Heinen has more than 2 years left on her term, and with her resignation, 4 Osseo council seats will now be up for grabs in the fall.
On this Memorial Day weekend, preparations are underway to honor the soldiers who died serving their country. In Golden Valley, veterans helped line a 1.5 mile stretch of Golden Valley Road with dozens of American flags. On Monday, the Chester Bird American Legion Post will host a public program and lunch with a special focus on Vietnam veterans. Event coordinator Tom Newman served in Vietnam in 1968 with the 101st Airborne Division, and he authored the book Just War. Newman says Vietnam vets deserve recognition because they often returned home with little fanfare.
I think for a soldier returning, it's not necessarily a painful experience as it is one that makes you angry. And I think that's what most veterans had to get over. What we did was honorable. What we did was for the defense of the country and the defense of people being oppressed. And that's what you have to take to your heart, not the way you were treated when you came back, because people didn't understand.
The Memorial Day program begins at 11 o'clock on Monday at the Chester Bird Post in Golden Valley. They hope to assemble a Vietnam veterans group in the future that could meet weekly at the post. Students volunteered in New Hope and Brooklyn Center Friday morning to honor the memory of a Bloomington man who died fighting terrorism.
Thomas Burnett was one of the passengers on United Flight 93 who fought back against hijackers on 9/11. His plane crashed in a Pennsylvania field. Burnett's school district has been sending students to volunteer for the Thomas Burnett Day of Service since 2004. Bloomington 8th graders sorted through donations at the Brooklyn Center and New Hope Art Value Village locations.
He did so much for so many people in just one day, and so we just want to, kind of do the same that he did and give back to the community and help as much as we can like he did.
The students from Oakview Middle School performed community service at a dozen locations around the metro.
Just in time for Memorial Day travel, gas prices are on the rise. Today, Twin Cities prices were averaging $3.53 per gallon. We found gas in Brooklyn Park selling for slightly less at $3.45. The good news is the price of gas is a lot lower than last year when we were at all-time record highs and paying $4.18 per gallon. Coming up on 12 News, what some see as a flower, most consider a weed.
We're going in the garden next to take on dandelions. And then later in sports, the race is on at the Northwest Suburban Conference Track and Field Finals.
But first, it's heating up. On Monday, we could reach 80.
A brand new parking ramp in Brooklyn Park will get some of its energy from the sun and some from the ground. Solar collectors are going up on Metro Transit's new park and ride ramp that's under construction at Highway 610 and Noble Avenue. The sun will provide 1/4 of the power it takes to run lighting, an elevator, and communications equipment. Underground, geothermal wells will provide heating and cooling for the passenger waiting area. Officials say the green investment will pay for itself in about 20 years. The ramp should be open later this summer with enough room for 1,000 cars. When spring arrives, we see a lot more wanted green, but you may also be seeing a lot more unwanted yellow.
Dandelions are popping up everywhere. Reporter Sonia Goen goes in the garden to show us how to get rid of them.
People are getting them all over their yards.
Look around any neighborhood in the metro, and you're bound to see a blanket of yellow.
All these spring blooming dandelions are going to blow their little seeds to everybody else's yards.
There's a good reason we're seeing them this time of year.
It's living off last year's energy. That's why they're blooming right now. You're seeing them bloom. That's a plant that survived over our winter. They're a perennial plant, basically.
There are several ways to get rid of the wild weeds. You can yank them out, but you'll have to dig up the root as well. Or you can use chemicals. You can go with a combo weed killer and fertilizer.
It's a slow-release nitrogen fertilizer. So instead of having that problem of possibly burning your lawn by too much fertilizer, a slow release will help that so it doesn't happen.
Liquids are good if you don't need fertilizer.
Items like this, the weed-free zone, some of the Weed Beater Ultra, there's a few different things that will work very well for dandelions.
But if you really want to rid your yard of dandelions, wait until summer is over.
The best time to actually get rid of your dandelions is in the fall, because if you can stop them in the fall, they don't come up in the spring.
For In the Garden, Sonia Goins, 12 News.
And some folks don't mind dandelions. The weeds can be used in salads and tea. However, you do have to be careful, of course, where you get them. You don't want to eat dandelions that have been sprayed with chemicals. Big no-no.
Well, I've never heard of you using them in salads and
tea. There you go.
Amazing.
Coming up, an opportunity to check out some local music.
We catch up with the Mud Brothers Band out of New Hope. And first in sports, Wayzata battles rival Edina for a spot in the state boys tennis tournament. John Jacobson will have that and more when we come back.
The state track and field meet is just a couple of weeks away. Runners, jumpers, and throwers in the Northwest Suburban Conference tuned up for sections at the conference championship meet in Coon Rapids. Girls 400-meter dash. Park Center's Faye Iobamadeli is the winner with a time of 57.39 seconds. Boys 100-meter dash. Armstrong sophomore Evan McClellan is first. His time 10.08 seconds. Girls 4x100 relay. Senna Tryon Lee on the left of your screen kicks Maple Grove to the victory. Boys 4 by 200 relay. Gabriel Galamou anchors Osseo to the win this day. To the field events and the boys discus. Park Center's Terrence Howard finishes 5th in the conference. His best throw, 48 feet, 7 3/4 inches. Boys high jump, Champlin Park's Jeremy Johnson takes first with a best jump of 6 feet, 6 inches. And in the girls triple jump, Armstrong's Michaela Baker goes 37 feet, 1/2 inch, and she finishes 2nd in the meet. Here's a look at the final boys team scores. Blaine wins with 113 points. Champlin Park is 2nd with Osseo 3rd. Among the other local teams, Park Center finishes 6th with Armstrong 7th and Maple Grove 10th. Blaine also wins the conference girls meet. Elk River is 2nd and Centennial Place is 3rd. Armstrong is 5th, Champlin Park 7th, Maple Grove 8th, Park Center 10th, and Osseo 11th. Wayzata's boys tennis team won the state Class AA championship last spring. The Trojans now have a chance to repeat. Wayzata facing Edina in the Section 6 AA final. Wayzata's Sam Tyson in the near court in the number 3 singles match. After they trade shots, the Hornets' return is into the net, and Tyson wins his match 6-2, 6-3. Hank Lee with a good serve at number 2 singles for the Trojans, and he fires a strong forehand to the corner that's returned long, but Edina's Anik Mohani takes this match. Max Olson of Edina in the near court at number 1 singles against Nick Beatty. Olson comes to the net, but Beatty keeps firing returns. He wins the point and wins his match 6-4, 6-1. On doubles play, it's doubles at its finest. Steel Kowalczyk and Jake Strom get the point in the number 1 doubles match. Wayzata downs Edina 5-2, and they win the section title.
This was a tough section as always with a lot of great teams, and we're proud to represent 6AA again. So it's been a very competitive section tournament, and we're glad to represent this section and hopefully do well at state tournament.
In Section 5 3A softball, top seed Maple Grove was trying to avoid becoming the 3rd straight upset victim of suddenly hot Coon Rapids. The Cardinals coming in after knocking off Osseo and Irondale. And they hit early. Megan Menson drills it to the fence in the left. 2-run score in the top of the first. The Crimson pitcher Sidney Smith shuts them down from there. Maple Grove quickly responds. Jordan Malk pounds one that's misjudged and left. Sammy Sadler scores on the double, and it's a 2-1 game. Later in the first, Sarah Southern really connects, blasting a 2-run homer and giving Maple Grove the lead for good at 3-2. They go long ball again in the 5th. Malk sending a solo bomb over the center field fence. Her 5th homer of the year makes it 5-2 Crimson. Megan Mulcrone gets in on the fun, drilling a leadoff homer in the 6th. Maple Grove pulls away for a 6-2 win. The Section 6 3A softball playoffs continue today in Edina. In the winners bracket semifinals Thursday, 2 Lake Conference teams met for the 4th time this season. Wayzata facing Hopkins. First inning, Hopkins' Jessica Krauser singles up the middle. Allie Reese comes in to score, and it's 1-0 Royals. A couple of batters later, Natalie Den Hartog hits a hard shot that caroms off the shortstop. Laura Clement scores to make it 3-0. Next batter is Lauren Fegler. She caps a big first inning for Hopkins, smashing one to right. This one clears the bases. 3 runners, including Den Hartog, score. Hopkins is up 7-0 after 1 inning. In the 4th inning, Sally Guthrie hits a flare just over second base for a base hit. 1 run scores, but Clements is thrown out at the plate trying to come in. Still, it's 8-0 Hopkins at this point. Fegler throws a 5-inning shutout. Hopkins blanks Wayzata 10-0 in 5. Royals are playing Orono in the winners bracket final. Still ahead, a New Hope band you likely will be hearing more of. That's next in the Weekend Showcase.
You might associate a picnic or going out to the lake with Memorial Day, but that's not the real reason for the holiday.
Local organizers hope a new event in Hanover will draw the attention back to what the day is supposed to be about.
We wanted everyone to remember that Memorial Day is really, it's not barbecues, it's not just the kids have a day off of school or the official start of summer. We wanted people to remember the real meaning of Memorial Day, and that is to remember those who gave their life in protection of our country.
The John Faas Memorial Day 5K benefit will remember a Navy SEAL who grew up in Minneapolis and died in Afghanistan in 2011. The money raised from the 5K and a silent auction will go to a scholarship fund that benefits children of Navy SEALs. Race begins at 11 a.m. at Hanover Settlers Park. A picnic and silent auction will follow. One of the auction items is a tandem skydive with a Navy SEAL. Well, their music is described as a little bit rock, a little bit country, a little blues, and a whole lot of fun.
In today's Weekend Showcase, reporter Carissa Wyant catches up with the Mud Brothers, a New Hope band that just released their first CD.
On a beautiful Saturday in May, the Mountain Mud Coffee Shop in New Hope is filled with the sound of music.
Our music is a combination of, I would say, several genres, rock, country, a little bit of bluegrass, some Americana.
Courtesy of the Mud Brothers Band.
Many years ago, if you thought I'd be doing this, I would probably not, but we just started writing together and started playing, and more people were just saying, hey, we really like this.
This New Hope band has been together for a while.
Well, we've been playing together about 5 years, but we've known each other as brothers our whole lives.
It features real-life brothers Rick and Don Boehm, who are accompanied by their friend Troy Fraser. Their songs are about a variety of topics.
Some are from life experiences, some are just observations of life.
And some of them are about girls, you know, the usual thing.
The band just released its first CD of original music called 7 Days of Rain. While they're satisfied with their final product, they say it wasn't easy putting it together.
The challenge is essentially coordinating the music and the players and to work together so everybody's ready to go. Because essentially when you're in a studio, you're paying about $200 an hour for your time. So it's not time to practice, it's time to be ready.
But this well-practiced group has high hopes for the audience their music will reach.
It would be great to hear our songs on the radio. That would be awesome.
Crowds here are singing their praises and dancing along to the beat. But until they hit the big time, they've got one goal in mind.
That's the main thing, have fun. So, and we're having fun.
For Weekend Showcase, Carissa Wyant, 12 News.
So why the name Mud Brothers? The Boehm brothers say their last name was too hard to pronounce. And as you said, an honorary Mud in that group, right? That does it for us. Thanks so much for joining us.
And if you're traveling over the holiday weekend, please do so carefully. And as we say goodbye, another taste of the Mud Brothers in New Hope.
How that wholesale feeling pain. I say, ride, baby, ride, it's alright. Ride, baby, ride, it's alright. Ride, baby, ride, it's